Hey, everybody, and welcome to another midweek Bible study with the West Main Church of Christ. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video, for clicking on it, for putting forth the effort to be sure to get some spiritual nutrients or uplifting for today. I really appreciate it. You can check out all of our videos at West Main COC Tupelo on YouTube, or scroll back through my Facebook page. There's all sorts of videos down there as well. If you're new to these videos, I like to start these videos off with something that's kind of fun, that gets our minds away from all the stress and everything going on in the world, and just gives us something to relax about before we dive into study. And today I thought it'd be really funny to look at some of the worst answers ever on game shows. So in particular, I don't know how many of you have ever heard of a game show called Family Feud. I'm sure most of you probably have. A Family Feud is they ask for questions and you have to figure out what a bunch of people said. And it's really, really kind of funny because you always get these people on there that clearly don't know what they're talking about. You know those people, you can kind of think of those. So I thought it'd be fun. Tonight we're going to look at the 5 worst Family Feud, worst Family Feud answers ever. That's the ones that I think anyway that I was able to find. You could go to YouTube actually and watch hours of videos of the worst Family Feud answers ever. But here we go. Number 5, name a tradition associated with Christmas. Okay, and these are real people, these are real answers, these are real questions that were asked on Family Feud. Name a tradition that was associated with Christmas. The answer, Hanukkah. Yes, I'm not making this up. They said Hanukkah is a tradition related to Christmas. Not Christmas tree, Christmas lights, or Frosty the Snowman. Hanukkah. Number 4, name an animal whose eggs you wouldn't eat for breakfast. And I'm going to try to keep myself from laughing at some of these, but these are too funny. Name an animal whose eggs you would not want to eat for breakfast. That person answered hamster. Yeah, a hamster. Wouldn't want to have hamster eggs for breakfast. Technically, probably not wrong. Number 3, name something you only wash once a week. Once a week. You wash this once a week. That person said yourself. Yeah. Their parents watching this video, they're like, yeah, my kids may only take a bath once a week. I'm not shaming. I'm not judging. But not a great answer to that one. Number 2, name a day of the year that you want to be with friends. Name a day of the year you want to be with friends. This person answered December. It's a long day. December. That's a very long day. That's almost as long as what this coronavirus has lasted right now, right? And then number 1, this one, I gotta laugh at this one because this one to me is just absolutely absurd. Name a yellow fruit. They said orange. Name a yellow fruit, and they said orange. I don't even have a defense for that. That's how ridiculous that is. So if you thought that the coronavirus was ruining your brain, was kind of turning your brain to mush, that you were having a difficult time remembering things or speaking clearly, just remember that there were always people that were that behind the 8 ball. So I don't know if that's encouraging or not, but it does kind of lead us into what we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about speech. Things that we say, things that we talk about. James chapter 3, verses 5 through 6 talk about how we have to be careful with our speech, specifically dealing with the tongue. The little guy that controls what we say, and there's so much more that goes into that people really pay attention to. Your tongue, your speech has the ability to lift people up as well as tear people down. It's a very, very influential thing if you allow it to be. And now more than ever, we have to constantly be aware of what we're saying. With social media out there, with cameras everywhere we go, you constantly have to be aware of what you're saying. And now more than ever, you've got a society that will hang on, right or wrong, whatever just gets put out there. Living in the middle of what we're going through right now, people are constantly saying, well, this thing's right, or this thing's right, or this thing's right, or this, and none of it has to be right. None of it necessarily has to be wrong either, but you've got to do a really, really careful job looking through and understanding things that you say, things that you put out there, because as I've told our teens multiple times, you live in an age now where everything you put out there is out there forever. And so you've got to be very, very confident and very, very careful with what you say, and how you say it to others is a really big deal. And so tonight we're going to talk about having a filter right? Your parents probably said this to you. You've got to filter some of these thoughts. Don't just blurt out the first thing that comes in your mind. You got to filter it out, right? And this is a devotional that I heard a long, long time ago, and I thought it was really great, and I'd like to share it with you all tonight. But it's having a filter, FILTTER, and this is an acronym. Everything starts with one thing. So before you speak, start with this number F, right? Does it reveal my faith when it comes to being a part of a filter? Does it reveal my faith? Is what you're saying enforcing the idea or encouraging the idea of you being a Christian? Galatians chapter 2 verse 20 says, I've been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. In the life that I now live in the body, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. You see, you have a responsibility as a Christian to personify in the way we act and also the way that we talk what Christ and who Christ is. And showing that faith starts with your mind. Colossians chapter 3 verse 1 says, therefore, if you've been raised with Christ, keep seeking the things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. So, does it reveal my faith? Is it going to be productive in revealing to people the faith that I have in God? Does it instigate sin around me? Does it instigate sin around me? If I say what I'm about to say, will it push somebody over the edge? Am I trying to make somebody mad? Will it encourage somebody to gossip? Are these things that if I didn't say them, would it be better off? Is it going to initiate or instigate sin around me? Matthew chapter 18 verses 7 through 8 says, woe to the world for the offenses, for those offenses will inevitably come, but woe to the person by whom the offense comes. If your hand or your foot causes you to fall away, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for the entire life to live an entire life maimed or lame than to have 2 hands and 2 feet and be thrown into eternal fire. Basically, don't allow yourself to continue to feed into something that is going to separate you from God. That's a really, really important point to make, because any kind of behavior, but especially with our speech, any kind of behavior that separates you from God is a behavior that has to be taken care of. L. So F-I and now L. Is it light in a world of darkness? I mean, after all, Matthew chapter 5 verses 14 through 16, it says, you are the light of the world. A city situated on a hill cannot be hidden. No one lights up a lamp and puts it under a basket, but rather a lampstand. It gives light to the whole house. And in the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see the good works. And here's the key part: give glory to the Father above in heaven. Is it light? Is it, there's a lot of things that just, most of us have probably heard the expression, just because you can say something doesn't mean you should, right? I remember going through the grocery store one time, and it was, evidently enough, I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, but I remember going through the grocery store with my mom. I was a much, much younger person, and I saw a pregnant lady. Didn't know she was pregnant at the time. I was younger. I didn't really understand the concept of what pregnant was. I was only 3 when my brother was born, so it's a little bit older than that, but I look at this big pregnant woman, and I look at her, and I look at my mom, and I was like, Mom, that woman is huge. She was like 8-9 months pregnant, right? Of course she's big. But that was the last time for a while that I got to go to the grocery store with my mom. Just because you can't say something doesn't mean that it has to be said. So is it light in a world of darkness? T and T, right? F-I-L-T-T. Is it true? And is it tasteful? Those are things, and again, that kind of plays with the tasteful thing, kind of plays with what we talked about before. Proverbs 19 verse 1, better a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool. Just because you can say something doesn't mean you have to say something. Is it going to be tasteful, and is it true? A lot of times we say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. We get into this idea where, with arguments, and it's really kind of interesting. You take different speech classes, and you've heard people say this before. If you say something with enough confidence, whether you actually know if it's true or not, people will tend to believe you. Doesn't mean you should. Okay, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 22 says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord. You don't have to lie just to make yourself look better. Exaggerating things is something that, lying, and that, there's all sorts of thin lines that everybody tries to flirt around, but it's one of those things that, are you speaking the truth? That's a very high priority on on what the life of Christ looked like, and has to be the same with the life of Christians. So is it true and is it tasteful? E, is it encouraging? Am I specifically speaking in order to encourage somebody else? Ephesians chapter 4 verse 29 says, "No foul language should come from your mouth, but only what is good for building up someone in need so that it gives grace to those who hear." Is it encouraging? Just because I can say something doesn't mean that I have to or that I should. If I'm only going to say something to tear people down, then why am I saying it in the first place? That seems like a really counterproductive thing to do. So is it encouraging? Is it something that I can use and I can say to encourage other people? Throughout this entire process, myself and Carrie, that's all we've tried to do. Everything that we say, all we wanted to do is to be able to encourage and motivate people to stay on top of their spiritual well-being. You know, I understand that there's a lot of concern right now with your physical health and your emotional health, but your spiritual and your mental health, all of those things are just as important. And I don't want us to slack off on the spiritual aspect because we're so concerned with being healthy physically. But everything that we say and do, especially in a time like this, right, when everybody is just craving and hanging on, needing something to be uplifted or encouraged, is it encouraging? And then the last letter, FILTT, that was E, and now R. This is the big one. If nothing else, you can rely on R and make your way through life. Okay, could I regret it? Philippians chapter 4 verse 8, it says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just or pure or lovely or commendable, if there's any moral excellence, if there's anything worth praise, dwell on these things." If you can follow Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8, if you could put those guidelines to the test for your speech, you probably won't say anything that you could regret. And we've all done it, right? We've all left a conversation where we thought, maybe I went a little too far there. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe, and we all say things that we regret. Whether it's the teenager that told the parents that they hate them, whether it's a parent who may have come down too hard on a kid, something you said to your boss, a conversation you were having with a friend. Everybody has those moments where they regret something in speech. But if we focus on the things that are true and pure and honorable, commendable, lovely, all of those things, we probably won't say much in our life that we'll end up regretting. So before you go posting on social media, before you have a conversation with somebody and you just cannot wait to lay into them, to let your opinions be known, be sure to check your filter to see if it's going to reveal your faith, to see if it's going to instigate sin around you, to see if it's a light in the world of darkness. Is it true? Is it tasteful? Is it encouraging? And could I possibly regret it? You follow these guidelines, and guys, you really won't have to worry about your tongue as much as you think you will. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this. If you're not part of our West Main family, again, go to our YouTube page, West Main COC Tupelo. You can find sermons, podcasts. You can find the devotionals, like we do this every Wednesday night, Bible classes. There's all sorts of great material there, so please go check that out. If you are part of my West Main family, hang with me for just a few moments. I do have some really important announcements, okay? As you guys all know, Saturday, I think Maywood announced that they were going to keep all the sessions running as normal. Monday, and I know that everybody was incredibly disappointed about this. I was heartbroken. But Monday, Maywood announced that all the sessions through the month of June have officially been canceled. Okay, they will be offering refunds, but you need to be able to designate what you want to do with that particular refund if you want to treat it as a donation to the camp or whatnot. It's also really, really important that you guys stay connected on Facebook. And this is why, because third session, the one that we always go to, third session is going to do a whole week of Maywood online. Okay, there's a lot of people working behind the scenes to make sure this happens with things like fun sing, devotionals, Bible classes. So please, please, please be sure to stay tuned for that. As soon as I get more information, I promise I'll be able to put it out there for you guys. But if you've got to be connected to our West Main Facebook page. Okay, so please, 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 please do that. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. But as soon as I get more information in, I will be sure to let you all know. Secondly, Sunday night, they made an announcement about Horizons. Okay, I think I've spoken with most all the parents who have registered kids for Horizons, but Horizons is going to be online this year as well. We will not be going to Freed Hardeman's campus to do a week long of Horizons. It'll go Sunday night through Tuesday night. And here's the big thing. You should already have an email. By the time you watch this video, you should have already gotten an email, but you have to go back and re-register if you want to be part of the online Horizons. Okay, you have to re-register and you have to designate to them what you want to be done with your $100 deposit, whether or not you want to give it as a donation or you want the full refund or put it toward part of the new virtual registration as well. The big important part about that is they made an announcement today that you have until June 1st to log on and to either re-register or designate what you're going to do with that deposit. Okay, if you do not by June 1st tell them that you want a refund, they will take that as a donation to the organization. Okay, and they need the donations, don't get me wrong, but if you want that refund back, please be sure to do that by June 1st. We have a brand new podcast that got put out there today. 662 Roundtable is a podcast that I host with my buddy Caleb from Christian Chapel Church of Christ in Amory. Please be sure to check that out. That's also on our YouTube page. We did number 8. It's our 8th episode that we've done so far, so we're closing in on a year of doing this podcast. But we talked about summer, all the pros and cons of summer, and what summer is going to look like moving forward. It's going to be a lot different. You know, we just talked about how 2 of our big weeks over the summer are going to look really, really different than what they normally do. As always, please be sure to stay connected. Call, text, send cards, check in on people. Make sure that your brothers and sisters at West Main know that you care about them and you're looking out for them. Guys, I really am excited about what we're going to be able to do this summer, despite not being able to do some of the things that we know and we love. I am longing and looking forward to the day that we get to see each other again. But until then, I love you all. Please stay safe and be sure to let me know if you need anything at all. Stay connected, stay up to date, and we will get through this together. Thank you, guys.